3.
Hello friends, and thank you for subscribing and tuning in for another review. Today we're reviewing the 2016 Kawasaki ZX10R. First of all, I want to start by thanking Thousand Oaks Motorsports for giving us this bike. Thank you so much, Ryan, Rick, all these guys are great. They're great salespeople. If you're in Southern California or if you're in Northern California and happen to come down to Thousand Oaks Motorsports, Kawasaki, Aprilia, Giant, KTM, they have great bikes. They're to take care of you. Also, they have them as well. So today, 2016 ZX10R, the newest kid on the block. New technology, new bike. Is it worth the hype? Is it different? What is it about that bike? Well, personally, I have purchased this bike. This is my 4th Kawasaki, so I've owned it from 2011 and so forth. I can tell you we're going to do this review in the canyons, we're going to do reviews in the street, we're going to push the bike to its limit, its max speed, we're going to put in a dyno, and then we're going to take it to the track. As you guys seen my previous reviews before, I tend to take bikes a little bit different than most. So we're not sponsored by any magazine, any brand, or anything like that. We are going to review the bike the way you and I would like to ride it, and what this bike can do and what cannot do. Having said that, is this bike different than the 2011 to 2015 model? Yes. Is the engine different than the 2011 to the 15 model? Yes. And is there anything else different about this bike? Pretty much most of everything is different about this bike, even though it may not appear to. As far as the plastics, the ergonomics, slight difference in that. Some parts can fit, the mirrors will fit, but other than that, I'm going to break it down for you and say why this bike is different, what it feels like to stand next to it, what it feels like to ride it, and we're going to produce the videos to show it. So let's start by saying this. The Kawi green, beautiful colors, the SBK colors, I think people will like that a lot. Most of them are black with green, but it also comes in that limited edition color. Great bike to pick it up. The exhaust system is different than the previous models. I like it, it's torquier. However, they did put the titanium exhaust system, and it's a full system. It's ported, it is polished, I believe, so it's supposed to give you more torque, and you do feel the more torque. So really you just need a slip-on, and yes, the slip-on from 2011, 2015 will fit the 2016 model. So if you are having this bike right now or considering getting this bike, and you do have an older version and you want to exchange the slip-on on it, that's all you need is just a slip-on. The heads are perfect. You do not need to change the entire exhaust system in the Kawasaki. That's one of the pluses of having that bike. Okay. Other than that, we got the windshield. The front windshield is slightly different, better I might say. It's got this vented air holes here for aerodynamics, I believe. It's a lot more compact, which we like. It's not out and flaring like the older version. We like it. The lights are slightly different, even though they may appear the same. They are slightly different. They have a little, it looks like an eyeliner, if you will. You know, it gives a little bit more character. The vented area here is bigger, and supposedly Kawasaki made the air ventilation a lot bigger. The air intake, so it's actually better for performance, and you kind of do feel it a little bit. Okay. Mirrors are pretty much identical, even though we took them off. This is my bike, so I had to take them off. I can't stand them. But the mirrors are great. They work great. You can see the good LED lights, turn signals, and they are identical to the previous model. Coming back again is the Olins. The Olins electronic dampener. I had some issues questioning this dampener in certain years, where I believe Olins, not Kawasaki, had an issue with the software with that, where sometimes it would fail, sometimes not, depending on your model. But I believe they fixed that, and truly, when it's working, it's phenomenal. And it basically can sense how the bike is in the turns. If you need more steering or less steering, and it's a great tool. If you're a track rider or a track racer, you really benefit from that. Also, the manual one from the 2011, 2012 models, they work just fine. The electronic ones are just a little bit cooler. Okay. The seat is slightly different. The tail is slightly different. The rear seat is a little bit more compact, smaller. In fact, I would like to show you the inside of it. It's almost useless. If you look down here, there is no room to do anything. This is my hand right here. So it is a little bit more compact, actually a lot more compact than the 2011, 2015 model. There's not much you can do here other than putting your tools here. That's pretty much all you would need anyway. If you're a track rider, you know, you wouldn't need this at all. But the seat is soft, it's firm. You got your pegs right here. You know, the Kawasaki is a very rider-friendly bike, even though a lot of people don't know that about the Kawi. But if you have a rear passenger, this is a very good bike to have a rear passenger. There's a lot of feedback. People are comfortable and the bike does not throw you off. The tail end is different. As you see, it's a brand new redesigned tail end. We like it a lot. It's very sporty, very edgy, very unique. So when you see that bike, you know that's the Kawi, and we like that. It lights up pretty well with the LEDs. I'm sure the aftermarket world will come out with something where it has like dual turning signals, LED, whatever. I'm sure that's in the making as we speak. Since we're here, I would like to discuss something that Kawasaki did this year, which I really like. They did pull the key for the rear seat on the side, like most bikes. I like that. Thank you, Kawasaki, for doing that. In the previous model, it was underneath, and you had to kind of like feel it with your finger. Now it's right here. You see it. You can just go to it. Done deal. All right. Another thing that they did, another minor change, I should say, is the tank. If you look at the tank and the gas tank here, it is polished black, where previous was just aluminum, the standard aluminum. A lot of people didn't like that. I think it's not a major change, but I think it's really cool. It looks good. It's more expensive. I like it. You would like it most likely, versus just the flat aluminum look, that brush aluminum look that a lot of us don't like. Another great thing that the bike comes with the tank pad, which is really, really cool. It comes like that. I believe the S1000R as well do that, so that's cool. We like that. Why not? We don't want to scratch our bikes, and kind of like gives you a little something extra. The limited edition 1000, the green, does come with the championship stickers. Let me show you around here. Those stickers are the 2015 and 2013 Superbike, and you do get some more. Since this bike has been dominating the world Superbike, so you can see it comes with those limited edition stickers, and of course the beautiful green Kawi. Now, this is the minor stuff, at least in my opinion. But what you and I are going to benefit from, what you and I are going to compare this to the 2011, 2015 model, is what else did they do different? Why is this bike different? Why should I fork, the 16.5 that they're asking for, 16.2, which is pretty reasonable? Here's why. One, the forks. The suspension, front suspension is completely changed. Those are very different than the forks we had before. Kawasaki had great forks before. Honestly, it was on the dime. We were able to just like settle in the bike. The bike was flipping quick. It was very, very sturdy. What we had issues with the Kawasaki before was the rear end, where the rear end was a little bit too soft. So you would normally have to revalve it. Okay. This time around, they changed the suspension front and back. Show us back air suspension as well. What does that mean for you and me? That means the bike is able to adopt bumps a lot easier, where the bump is not gonna throw the bike off. The bike tilts in easier, and tons of feedback. Feedback means when you're coming on the brakes, when you're accelerating, when you're initiating the turn, you wanna know what the bike is doing. And the way you can do that through tires, suspension, and engine braking. All we're gonna address. But as right now, the suspension gives you a lot of feedback. It's also a firm suspension. For instance, if you look here, it is firm. It is not a soft suspension, okay? Yet it gives you a lot of feedback as you're going in. I like it. I like it for fast sweepers. I like it for tight turns. Of course, you can customize that. But a great improvement. Thank you, Kawasaki. In the back, there's the same thing with the show adjustment suspensions in the back. You can adjust it. The rear end is very stable. It holds the line. Unlike before, it used to come out wide with the Kawi. This time around, the bike holds the line very good. Does not get upset in the back. The traction control works. I can know what the bike is doing. I can feel when the traction control is working. I can feel the tire spinning. Talking about tires, element number 2, Bridgestone's Battlax R10's best for this bike. Great marriage between Bridgestones and Kawasaki. Thank you, Kawasaki. Thank you, Bridgestone. Excellent tires, very strong, very sticky. Right off the bat, you buy it out of the dealer, take it to the track, and the bike is ready to go. They warm up really quick. They stick the shocks with the suspension. The bike is very stable, very nimble, tons of feedback. And really, honestly, nothing better for a rider than feedback. Well, what else gives you feedback? Brakes. The brakes, you can see those huge, gigantic rotors. Those are 330s. Big difference from the previous models. The Tokiku brakes in 11 to 15 models were great. Nobody ever complained about them. They could have been slightly, maybe different, a little bit better, but for stock or ABS brakes, they were great. They were comparable to the BMW Brembos. Definitely were not as harsh as the Panigales, for instance. But these here, those are Brembo brakes, Brembo pads, Brembo brake cylinder, and Brembo levers. Those are great Brembos. They're awesome. What I like about them most, it reminds me with the S1000R, where those brakes will grab, will stop you, will not scare you, will not jerk you over. They will not bite you. So when you pull, you don't feel like you're gonna go right over the tank or you will hit, you know, your crotch into the tank. In fact, it will stop you on smooth. You don't feel like they're gonna fade away. Now, people don't get as much feedback as they think is because they're not going hard enough on them. The other great thing about those brakes is they have the cornering ABS, and I've tried that. So basically, if you're cornering, and this is great for racers who like to trail braking all the time, and you're in the corner, you can slightly touch the brakes, and you can feel it working for you, slowing you down and turning you in even more. Versus before, when you would hold the brakes in most bikes, the bike would stand up. All right. So that's how that translates to both of us, and we're gonna test that. The rear brakes on the Kawasaki, which is something that starts to die out in the new bikes nowadays, actually works. It will put you to stop. A lot of the new bikes, including the S1000R, this rear brake is just for looks. It doesn't work because you use the front brake for both, right? Same thing here, but this one does work. So if you like to turn in tighter by tapping the rear brake a little bit, or like to just use the rear brake, or if it's an emergency, you want to use both, it works. Thank you for making it working for us. Okay. Another great thing they did here, primarily because of that big rotor in the front, is they gave us the 90-degree angle air valve. These guys right here. So if you come take a look at this, this is the 90-degree air valve. Makes it a lot easier for people to check their air pressure, put their air, and it's a great thing. I really think all bikes should have that. So if you're a manufacturer out there, just go ahead and do it for us, will you? You know, it makes it easy for everybody. Okay. Steel braided brake lines all across, front and back. You can see the steel braided brake lines here. Steel braided brake lines here, up in the front. This comes from the manufacturer. This is a great addition. Again, thank you. You get a lot of value on that bike. So this is fun. This as far as the visual effects, the things that you actually see, the things you can actually use, the suspension, the brakes, the tires. It's all great things. But a lot of people talk about the engine, and a lot of people talk about the new electronics. But what is that? Well, we have traction control. Previous model had 3 traction controls. This model has 5. 1 and 2 are closer to each other, so it's true closer to 1, which is the least intrusive. 4 and 5 are closer to each other, so 4 is closer to 5, which is the most intrusive. 3 is in the middle. For this particular bike, I like to refer to traction control 3 as being a god. Okay, this is when you're in the corner, coming hot, downshifting, taking the corner and rolling on it, and wishing that tail will not dance, and you won't. It will hold you in, boom, you're out of the corner. It makes you feel invincible. Don't go too crazy with it, please, especially in the street. But it does. 4 is not bad, especially in the sweepers. It's really good. It's a little bit, you really feel the traction going on. The bike feels heavier. It doesn't want to lean as much. And 5 is best if it's raining, if it's slippery, if you, I don't know, if you have snow, wherever you're from. You want traction control 5 for sure. And ideally you want to change the settings to a different setting as well. I'm going to get that in a second. But 1 and 2 are really good. They allow you to drag your knee, they allow you to exit the corner, and you can also turn it off. So traction control on this bike, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 3 is medium, 2 is closer to 1, 4 closer to 5, and you can shut it off, which is great. Settings. The settings are the same as the 2011. You got full power, mid power, or low, which is basically 100%, 70%, or 60%. In a rainy weather, you want to go, for instance, low, and you would put on traction control 5. That's if it's really rainy or very slippery, if there is oil, it would really save you. And those tires are great for that. Suspension has a lot of feedback. It's a very good package. You're gonna kind of play around with it based on your skill level and your daily driver, or if you're a track rider, whatever it is, you gotta play with the settings according to likings. The other great thing that they added in this bike this year in 2016 is the launch control. Meaning, if anybody knows the Kawas are wheelie friendly. They love to wheelie. Big, torquey, strong horsepower motors. This time around, you can turn on the clutch control, and you have up to 4,000 RPM and 9,000 RPM. You get to choose whatever you want. You just roll on that puppy up to 9,000 RPM, let go of the brakes, and guess what? You'll launch right through. The bike will not wheelie out of you. Also, if we have it on, if you're coming out of a corner, you can roll on hard on that gas, and the bike will not come up on you. It will just push through. However, it does give you an instant of a lag. So if you're in the track, much like myself, we know we don't like that too much. In the track, it's war. It's on. Engine braking system. Another big plus for Kawasaki this year over the other bikes. Engine braking system is 2 modes: off, or light. Off means it's on. Don't ask me why they did it this way, but that's what it means. So if the dash screen says off, it means your engine braking is on. If it says light, that means it's actually off. That means your engine braking like a normal bike, like the 2011 to 2015 model or any other bike for that matter. But when it's on or off, that means the engine braking, as you go off throttle, the bike will slow down without you holding brakes. So you can enter a corner, and since the stiff suspension doesn't dive in, as I showed earlier, you can enter a corner off throttle and pick it up maintenance and go right through the corner, carrying your speed, and then go on without grabbing the brakes. Great addition. I love it. It will take you a couple of days to get used to it. After that, you'll be loving this thing. Okay, it's very good in traffic. It's very good to accelerate, and kind of ideally you really ride with gas control. If you can master the gas control, you can really ride bikes really fast, and that does give you the ability to do that. So thank you, Kawasaki, for adding that. I'm gonna experiment that in the track even more and bring it out to you guys. Another change that they did is the engine management system, or they call it smart system, smart setting. Basically, the computer manages the engine braking with your speed and your braking angle, and kind of tells the bike where the power needs to be at that point, so you never feel like the bike is out of control. Oh my god moment is very less likely to happen, which really brings me to a point that I want to make to you guys, my friends. The bikes are not like what they used to be. Before, if you were a beginner rider, it was a 250, 300, work you up to a 600, eventually 1000 if you prefer to. Now, if you're coming from a 250 and decide for some reason you want a 1000, I actually don't mind it anymore, because those bikes are coming out from the manufacturer, from the dealer, with tons of electronics, with things that does not scare you. In fact, it allows you to be more confident, inspires you, and you can grow into the bike of any level. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. So nowadays, a bike like this does inspire confidence. Another thing that this bike inspires confidence in is the way the bike is set up, how you sit on that bike. The seat is medium. It is not too hard, and it's definitely not as soft as the BMW S1000RR, which means it's good for track, it's good for street. It's not too hard like the R1, where your butt will just get beat up in traffic. But it's soft enough. The way you sit on a bike, now I'm 5'10", about 185 pounds. I'm in shape, so don't even think about it. You're sitting up here, you can see where my knees are. They're right under the tank. When I grab the bike, my elbows are bent. They're not super extended like the previous, for instance, S1000RRs. This is good, comfortable for sitting or taking pictures, but not for riding. So when you sit in the ZX10, the natural position, you look how close my elbows are to my knees, they're right under the tank. This is the natural position. One of the reasons this is the way it is the geometry of the chair, the seat is a bit higher than the 2011 to 2015, about I believe an inch or so, and the handlebars are a bit wider. The Kawasaki and the Aprilia RSV4, they are the widest handles in the market. This is even wider. I thank him for that. It's great for us. It really gives a lot of handling, a lot of feedback. You want to be free, you want to be able to slide here, this is a good place to be. So I hope the other manufacturers, be it Japanese or European, to kind of get the hint. We like this. We don't like these things. We like nice handlebars that can give us turning in feedback. The electronic, the ECU, if we can come right here. The dashboard is pretty much, it's not an LCD. I know some people saying, oh, we like the LCD, whatever. You know what, go get a Mercedes and drive around. If you want a motorcycle, you're not really looking here, you're looking in front of you, I hope. If you're a fast rider, if you're a slow rider and you like to look at the LCD, maybe you can get yourself a DVD player, all right? But here, we got an LCD that's very informative, a lot better than the previous model in a way that they made it a lot more accessible to use. Before, we used to have a couple of buttons here, and what people would do is we kind of click back and forth between the button to get to whatever it is you're trying to do. Right now we have the SCEL button, and all you gotta do is that hold that button in and choose from whatever it is that you want to do with the up and down buttons. Basically, if you want to use the full power, you want to use the traction control, launch control, the clock, so easy to use. If you want to use the odometer, if you want to use the timer for the lap, for track is great. If you want to check out the engine heat, how hot it is. If you want to use the RPM control, how flickable it is. If you want to flick faster, flick lower. If you want to increase the RPM limit, And also, if you want to change the brightness of this you have the option to change the brightness of the screen, or leave it on auto. And the auto button is right here. Basically, the darker it gets, the brighter the screen gets, and it gets really light bluish. It's very, very nice color. As you can see here, the ABS line is on. The bike has ABS on, and you cannot shut it off. The ABS also tells you if your tire is low in air or if it's warped, and the ABS works great. I have tried it. It's beautiful. It's an awesome feature. Just about everything else you can shut off on that bike except the ABS. But last and not least, as far as electronics are concerned, we're gonna come right here and we're going to discuss the quick shifter. Now, the quick shifter is a new for a Kawasaki. Kawasaki did not have a quick shifter before. 2016 model has a quick shifter. You can change it right here, and it will go up and down. So it can go down and shift down like the MotoGP style if that's what you're into, or you can leave it stock as is. The quick shifter can be turned off from the motorcycle. In fact, it comes out of the dealer off. So if you're buying this bike and you're riding it or test riding it and it's not working, it's because it's off, not because you don't have it. Right? You just gotta learn how to turn it on. A lot of the dealers didn't do that. So yes, the quick shifter works. It's nice, not the best. I've had better, and I kind of like the R1 and the S1000R. Slightly a little bit smoother, but it works great. The gearing in the bike is very different than 2011, 2015. The gearing on the 2011, 2015 was very long. So is this. However, what second gear is here is what first gear used to be. What third gear is what second gear used to be. Fourth is third, fifth is fourth, and sixth is fifth. Meaning, if you are in third gear here, it feels like if you were second gear in a 2011 model. So you have a lot more torque. That doesn't mean the gearing is short. You can still change the gearings, and I would give the recommendation as I've done that before. But it is better. So really, first gear, you get off, it's long. Once you're on, you don't need the clutch anymore, and it's very, very torquey, which bring us back to the engine. The engine, different placement, it's a lot forward, higher, more bore, more torque, more horsepower. You jump on that bike, it's guaranteed you'll feel the horsepower. It reminds me very much with the S1000RR. The North American Kawasaki's are tuned down. So to me, when I refer to the Kawasaki 2011, 2015, it has about 184 horsepower to the rear wheel. That's with the flash ECU and proper modification. That's what the bike really is supposed to make. This one feels a lot more as it is. However, you still do need to flash the ECU here to get the bottom quick shift or downshifting from the bottom. You get a little bit more horsepower. But it does feel about 180 to 190 horsepower. It actually feels quicker than most of the bikes that we tested, including the 2015, 2016 S1000RR. So that's a great thing. I think this bike is a beast. The electronics on it matches the power that this bike has. If you're into Kawasaki, you've had Kawasaki before, you will definitely notice the power difference once you're rolling that throttle. The one minor things that I would really love for people to consider is, especially if you're a track rider or a local racer, the stock gearing in this. The 2011, 2015 model, we would go -2, +2, +3 in the back, depending on your skill level, but this is what you need to race this bike. In this model, -1, +2 will be fine, especially for the street. -2, +2 will be perfect for the track, just because slightly different gearing. Other than that, I'm in love with that bike. We will take it into the canyons. We'll give you the canyon ride with the different traction modes to see what it actually does to us. Then we're going to take it to the track and try the same thing with the electronics on. What's the difference in the traction control 1 through 5 in the track? How does that apply to us? Additionally, what is it like without it on at all? Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe. If you have any questions, go ahead and write it down from the bottom for me. I hope I can give you as much information as I can, and hope you can relate to this. This is a 2016 Kawasaki ZX10R. Great job, Kawasaki, and I'll see you guys in part 2. Thank you.